Her hands were trembling as the soldiers lifted her into the carriage. She was only 16. Court records remember her as Consort Han, one of the Korean tribute women sent to the Ming palace. In that moment, she was handed over to the Emperor of China. Her mother stood nearby, weeping as she signed the document. She couldn't write, so she pressed an ink mark instead. One less daughter to feed. One less mouth in a time of famine. Han traveled for weeks inside a sealed carriage alongside 15 other Korean maidens. They were forbidden to look outside, forbidden to speak to one another. When one girl tried to escape, she was dragged back with her hand crushed. She died days later from infection. Her body was left on the roadside. The others learned quickly. Resistance was not an option. When the gates of the Forbidden City closed behind Han, she discovered the truth. Serving the Son of Heaven had nothing to do with honor. She would live 16 years inside those walls. She would watch an entire harem disappear in a single night. She would beg to see her mother one last time. And she would die in white silk. Han's story did not begin with cruelty. It began with a system. When people imagine Chinese imperial concubines, they picture elegance, silk robes, poetry, luxury. That image is propaganda. The imperial concubine system existed for over 2,000 years. Tens of thousands of women vanished behind the red walls of the Forbidden City. They were not wives. They were not even considered human under imperial law. They were classified as objects, legally equivalent to porcelain vases. Every 3 years, imperial officials conducted the Shunu selection. It sounded refined. It wasn't. It was a forced harvest. During the Ming Dynasty, no family was exempt. Every unmarried girl of eligible age had to be presented. Hiding a daughter was treason, punishable by death for the entire family. Palace physicians inspected every inch of their bodies for scars, marks, or imperfections. Those who passed were taken. Families received minimal compensation. Refusing it meant admitting disloyalty to the emperor. Poverty ensured compliance. Most families never heard from their daughters again. Letters were forbidden. Visits were impossible. Some families held funerals for daughters who were still alive because they understood the truth. The girl they raised no longer existed. Between 1408 and 1435, Korea sent over 100 women to the Ming Empire as diplomatic tribute. Not as guests, as property. The day Han crossed the palace gates, she ceased to be a person. She became a number. But before she could serve, she had to be broken. The selected women did not enter the harem immediately. First came refinement, a process lasting months or years. The first phase was identity destruction. Their hair was cut, a symbol of dishonor. Their names were erased and replaced with numbers. Mentioning family resulted in punishment. Personal belongings were burned. 20 women slept in a single room. They were woken before dawn and worked past midnight until exhaustion erased resistance. The second phase was submission training. They practiced bows for 8 hours a day. Mistakes were punished with bamboo rods. Many carried those scars for life. They learned to walk silently, keep their eyes lowered, and exist without taking up space. One Qing Dynasty manual listed 47 rules for standing in the emperor's presence. 47 ways to exist or be punished. The third phase prepared them to serve the emperor. Palace medical records describe the process with chilling detachment. Clinical language barely hiding the reality of what was done behind closed doors. After training, survivors entered the harem hierarchy. At the top stood the empress. Below her, consorts. Then layers of concubines. At the bottom, hundreds of women who might never be summoned, not once in their entire lives. Each night, eunuchs presented the emperor with tablets bearing names and portraits. He chose one. The selected woman was bathed, wrapped naked in silk, and carried to his chambers. A chief eunuch remained behind a screen to keep time. After 30 minutes, the encounter ended, recorded in detail for proof of imperial lineage. Most women were never chosen. They aged in silence, forbidden to leave, forbidden to marry, forbidden to belong to anyone else. Property placed in permanent storage. The harem became an arena. Poisonings. False accusations. Abortive herbs slipped into tea. Survival demanded cruelty. Pregnancy did not mean safety. Mothers were isolated. Children were taken away. Daughters often vanished without record. Some women risked death to prevent bringing another girl into the system. And then came 1421. After a rumor of scandal, Emperor Yongle ordered a purge. In one night, 2,800 women were executed, concubines, servants, cooks, girls as young as 12. By dawn, palace courtyards were washed clean. No official record remains. Han survived the massacre. But 3 years later, when the emperor died, she was selected for Xuanzang, accompanying sacrifice. Favorite concubines were buried with the emperor to serve him in death. She begged to return to Korea. The petition was denied. Han was hanged with white silk at 32 years old and buried beside the man who destroyed her life. The system outlived her, and tens of thousands like her. Today, millions walk through the Forbidden City, admiring its beauty. Few are told about the wells, the isolation palaces, the women who vanished. Han was 16 when she was taken, 32 when she died. She never saw her mother again, and she was only 1.